Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning Five here on Monday, April 15th, 2019. I am Dave Biddle. Very happy to be joined by Steve Helwagen. Steve, let's get right into some spring ball talk. At quarterback, it wasn't a great day for Justin Fields, who was just 4 of 13 for 131 yards, but he did have a 98-yard touchdown pass to Ben Victor. A lot of fans seem concerned, but I just can't stress this enough. I mean, just 13 attempts in a game, quote unquote, a game, where they're not even playing real football, they're playing touch football. He looked good as a runner. Just what were your impressions of Justin Fields, Steve?
Yeah, I think we addressed this a little bit in the Facebook Live after the game that we posted, and my comment was I didn't see anything that led me to believe that these guys should take the summer off. I think both he and Matthew Baldwin have plenty of work to do, getting on the same page as the wide receivers. Some passes were off the mark at times, it seemed like, and I think that some of it had to do with the offensive line was breaking down at various points. I don't think we've seen the true offensive line yet because Thayer Munford didn't practice, and Jonah Jackson from Rutgers isn't there yet. So I would guess that the wild card on this is Jonah Jackson, because we know for a fact that Thayer Munford is going to start at left tackle. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But if Jackson is the real deal, then he plays guard and Bowen plays tackle. If Jackson is not the real deal, then Bowen plays guard and either Petit Ferrer or Alabi plays tackle. And that's it's either or. It's one or the other. And they may rotate guys throughout the season, but I think the consistency of the offensive line at times was a struggle. I think then that kind of led to some bad things happening for the quarterbacks. I have not had a chance to go back and fully watch the game. I know one of the things one of us is going to do is going to go back and go through all the throws and see what was good and what was bad. And 4 of 13 sticks out like a sore thumb. And one of them was the 98-yard pass. It was 3rd and 8 on the 2-yard line, and Fields was able to roll out to his right and stay alive in the pocket and threw a deep ball about down to midfield. And Ben Victor, with all the size and athletic ability of anybody who's ever played the position, went up over a walk-on and took it and took it the rest of the way. And that's kind of the one play that Justin Fields is going to hang his hat on. I think, good, bad, or indifferent. Got to see much more consistency, I think, out of that. But in a real football game where they have to honor his ability to run the football, I don't think things will necessarily be quite as difficult throwing the football, let's just say. I mean, they could drop into a zone or – we saw Baldwin made the mistake of throwing into double coverage twice and got intercepted. So, I don't think you'll be able to do that when you have to honor what Fields brings as a runner. You're going to have another guy up in the box probably to spy him. So, long story short, there were some positives. But, again, I think that they've got a long way to go between now and August to get on the same page and continue growing their understanding of the offense. It seems to me that could probably be the number one thing right there.
So it sounds like you're the fans out there that are pretty concerned. Sounds like you wouldn't really talk them off the ledge. It's like you might need to be concerned. Like not that Justin Fields isn't talented. We can talk about Matthew Baldwin too, who had a ton of reps playing for both teams. We got a much better look at Matthew Baldwin. I mean, Justin Fields only had like 13 reps total. Matthew Baldwin, or 13 attempts, I should say, total. Matthew Baldwin had like 32 total. So if fans asking you about Justin Fields, you're saying there is reason to be concerned here.
I think so. I think that until he shows that type of consistency that they have to have, I mean, Haskins completed 65, 70% of his throws last year. 4 out of 13 seems to me like it's like 30 some percent or something. I don't know. But at any rate, the raw numbers don't look good. I know that Teron Vincent broke through one time and got his hand up in the air on a pass attempt, and Fields' throwing hand hit Teron Vincent. And I don't I think Teron Vincent was just doing his job. I don't think there was obviously any malicious intent to hit the quarterback, who was off limits. He was trying to deflect the pass, and it was a mishap, and he looked like he really hurt his hand, which it's hard to play quarterback if your hand isn't 100%. So maybe that factored into some of his wildness or some of his inconsistency, I guess. Baldwin, to me, had great moments, and then, as we said, threw into double coverage twice and was intercepted, once by Reap and once by Went. And I think that, again, this is a product of a guy who was playing live football essentially for the first time in like 15, 16 months. So he's shaking the rust off. And, I want to see more. I know people have posted on the message board that if it comes down to where they have to play Baldwin, it could be a rough situation. But again, this is just his starting point. This is not what he's going to be cracked up to be, or Fields either. I think it clicks together when you have the right offensive line, the right scheme, the ability to run the football, and everything else. I think it's going to be a much different scenario in the fall, I think, for these guys. And the other thing you think about is the frontline wide receivers. They did play, a good portion of the first half, but he was out, and there was no Jalen Harris. I don't think Chris Olave played. So it was a lot of the other guys in that receiving core that were out there trying to catch passes as well.
Yeah, and let's get into one of those guys. I thought Garrett Wilson. He was playing for the other team, but still, he was tremendous. He was playing for the Scarlet, not the Gray, so he wasn't catching passes from Justin Fields. But Garrett Wilson will be catching passes from Justin Fields in the fall, presuming that Fields will be the starter, and I think he will be. And I like Baldwin too, but I do think Fields will be the starter. But Garrett Wilson looked really, really good, similar to what he did in the Army All-American game, where he's just like, or whatever it was, Under Armour All-American game. I get them all confused, where he's like basically almost jumping over guys, Randy Moss style, mossing guys, as they would say on NFL Live. But Garrett Wilson's going to play a lot of football for the Buckeyes this fall, Steve.
Yeah, I liked what I saw with him. He went up over 7 banks and made that touchdown grab in the right corner of the end zone. And you could tell he and Jaelen Gill, they were really pumped up to be out there making plays in the horseshoe. And those are two of the young comers who are going to be part of this receiving core, along with Chris Olave. You can see the present right now with Mack and Hill and Victor, and then a little bit of those guys. And you can see the future as well. And it's very bright with those younger guys that are coming on. And I think I speak for a lot of people that you hope Jalen Harris, who wasn't in uniform, or at least wasn't in pads, you hope that everything's okay with him. He kind of was slow there at the end of spring practice with some injuries or whatever. CJ Saunders was a go-to guy, I think, in this game as well, which, again, kind of fit the format. The starters didn't play a whole lot, so some of the backups like CJ got a chance to show what they could do, and he caught a touchdown as well. So I think, wide receiver and running back, it'd be hard to be much more impressed, I think, with what you saw and what you're going to see, I think, in the fall. I mean, Mack was impressive at times as well. So I think that, again, there's a lot to build off of, I think, after this spring has come to an end.
I'm glad you touched on Jaelen Gill. He did play really well. And, he'll probably play a decent amount because they rotate those guys in there. And, he's not going to be a starter because they left KJ Hill, but they'll get Jaelen Gill in there. And he looks really good to me. And another guy that looked really good, Master Teague, redshirt freshman. They were able to get him out there a couple of games last year, get his feet wet, still redshirt him thanks to the new rule. Master Teague looked really good. He's not going to be the starter. J.K. Dobbins will be the starter, but with Demario McCall being kind of a tweener, and his durability seems like an issue with Demario McCall. I mean, Master Teague could be a guy that plays a decent amount this fall, Steve.
Yeah, you make a good point there. I think between J.K. Dobbins had a cameo. He had 3 carries, and it was kind of cool. You could see when he would go into the line, it was like Jonathan Cooper would be there to kind of grab him with a hug and help him down to the ground. It was kind of like just put bubble wrap around the guy. Okay, we got you. Blow the whistle, type thing. So he made his appearance. Everybody got to hear his name called. And then they got Crowley and Teague in there. And for a spring game, they ran the ball more in a spring game than anytime I can ever recall. And I think Teague had 75 yards and Crowley had 50. That's a pretty good day, I think, for those 2 guys against Ohio State's defense. So I think both those guys, Master Teague runs really hard. Crowley, Teague had been out and missed some time during the spring, and so Crowley got some primetime reps as an early enrolling freshman. So, yeah, I think it's exciting to see that, those 2 guys are ready. And that was something you needed to see this spring because there's no more Mike Weber. J.K. Dobbins doesn't have his running mate there. He split carries a lot of the last 2 years, and you wonder, is he going to be okay, 25 carries a game? I'm not sure he needs to be. I think give him a solid 20 and get those guys in there for 5 or 10, and I think you got a dynamite package. And, of course, you mentioned we didn't see Demario McCall either. Get him healthy. At the end of last year, he was making some nice plays as well. So I think he would be a great change-up back, I think, if you get him in the open field. I got to go to the coaches clinic, and Steve Adazio was there presenting from Boston College, and they run a little bit different offense, 2 tight ends and a lot of power. They've got as he says, a 240-pound running back who's a freak. I don't know the kid's name off the top of my head, but to watch his cut-ups and everything got me excited about running the football. And all you have to do with a guy like a McCall or Dobbins is just get them a crease. And I think that Ohio State's offensive line, when it gets put together in the fall, we're worried. People are worried about Fields and whatever. If you're rushing for 200 and some yards a game, the passing will come. I don't have any doubt about that. So I think we're looking at an offense that's going to be pretty tough to stop when they get going in the fall.
Switching gears to the hoops front, Chris Holtman and the Buckeyes landed the 4th member of this excellent 2019 recruiting class. 7-footer Ibrahima Diallo out of California picked the Buckeyes over Pitt and a few others like Florida State. Talk about Diallo. What can fans expect from the 7-footer? And also, is Ben Roderick, is there any chance he'll be a Buckeye at all?
Well, I'll start with Roderick. I don't think so. Coach Holtman talked about how he didn't really want to bring in 5 new freshmen. Now, if they were able to work out a thing where Roderick came in and redshirted, perhaps maybe that would be a workable thing. I just think the scholarship situation, the way it is right now, with only 2 available scholarships for guys in the 2020 class, I think they don't want to take away from that. I think they would like to go out and get a pair of national top 50 or top 75 players in the 2020 class. So that kind of rules out Roderick. It's been interesting on Roderick. I haven't seen a lot of Big Ten caliber schools come in on him despite how well he played as a senior. I know he took an official visit to Ohio University with our friend Jeff Bowles, or was supposed to. So I guess we'll wait and see how that just happened. Bowles just got a commitment from a 3-star kid who was on the cusp of the national top 100 to play at Ohio University. So that's a tremendous coup for him. Regarding Roderick, I think he's a very good player. Could be a guy that comes back to bite Ohio State in the butt for not getting him. I just don't think there's a spot for him because he would be the 7th guy between the 2 and 3 positions on the roster next year, and it just seems like a glut. I just don't know that they need another wing in the 2019 class, particularly when you're already taking Gaffney, who I'd consider as a 3 anyway. So So I would say no on Roderick, unfortunately, because I think he's a great kid and a very good player. Diallo, you can look at it one of two ways. He's a project. Yes, I will stipulate that to the court. So it's duly noted. But there's over 4 billion people walking the planet, and there aren't very many of them who are 7 feet tall. You can't teach 7 feet, okay?
And he's athletic.
He's athletic.
Yes.
Athletic 7-footer. He's not a slug. I watched him in the Big Baller Brand All-Star game, which was going on the same time as I want to say one of the Purdue tournament games that went to the wire. I don't know which one, maybe regional final or the Final Four game. It had to be the regional final. So the weekend of the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, I'm watching the Big Baller Brand on the web just to get a sense of Diallo, because it looked like Ohio State had a good shot at him 2 weeks ago when that game was played. And he's out there hustling in an all-star game where everybody else is jogging around and not playing defense. He's rebounding, getting putbacks. So is he limited? Yes. But he can come in and play 5 minutes in each half, 10 minutes total, in relief of Caleb Wesson, and be a rim protector, block shots, rebound, do all those little things as he's learning the offensive aspect of the game. Trust me, he's got good hands from what I could tell. If DJ Carton can get into the lane and dump it to him, I have no doubt he can catch it and dunk it. So that's really about all you need the kid to do. So I see a lot of people on our site are like, well, redshirt him or whatever. You know, did the Northwestern game, the Wisconsin game tell you that if you don't have a legitimate big man on the back line of your defense, you're going to lose? They made Derek Pardon look like Kevin Durant. So in that game, because Caleb Weston didn't play. So I think that this kid fills an immediate void. It was the one glaring weakness on this roster. They have a 2 deep at every position except center. He was the only center on the team since Ledee left. And to me, Diallo, you can poo-poo this all you want. Look at his national rating all you want. I've got one guy from 24/7 who said that he's not a very good player. I don't care. You can't teach 7 foot. And they needed another guy on that back line to protect against whatever happens with Caleb Wesson.
Great stuff, as always, from Steve Helwagen. Thank you very much, Steve, and thank you to the listeners out there for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great day. Let's hear that Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.